Now let's move into the state champs, 16-0, 7-0 in conference. Thomas Jefferson, Coach Bill Cherpak returns, of course. 4 coming back on offense, 4 on defense. The cupboards are pretty bare as far as athletes, although they bring back Preston Zandier, brother of Zane Zandier, who plays at the University of Virginia. And then Ian Hansen, kind of that split wide receiver running back, really speedy and dynamic. He's going to be a key cog in this offense as well. But the biggest thing, I think, is coming on their offensive line. Jake Krawczyk and Nicholas Trainer are both really talented and will most definitely play at the next level. Quarterback-wise, Jake Pugh got a lot of snaps. He's kind of the favorite right now, but Joey Lexi is biting at the heels, trying to win the starting job. There's just a lot of youth, a lot of solid pieces right now with the Jags, not a lot of experience coming back. Are they going to be able to overcome that youth up front and kind of dominate in the same way we saw them do last year?
Dominate in the same way, that's going to be obviously tough. I mean, what they lost and, going 16-0 and winning the state championship, that's going to be tough. But as I mentioned in the interstate preview, the thing that separates Wash High from everyone else is they have Mike Bosnick. This is the same case in this conference. TJ has something no one else has, and that's Bill Cherpak. So that's the big thing for me. He knows what he's doing. Obviously, 3 state titles and I believe 9 WPIL titles now, if I'm correct. So obviously, the man knows what he's doing at Thomas Jefferson. He's been the leader there for umpteen years now. So he still returns a good bit of athletes, in my opinion. The thing TJ always has great offensive lines. All their guys seem to go and play at the next level, whether it be the Division I or Division II level. So I'm not really worried about that. And I look for TJ to still dominate this year for the most part. But we'll get to the intriguing game. I think the most intriguing game is McKeesport, and you do as well. I think that game will have a lot to do, and it's going to be the last game of the regular season too. So that's going to be huge as well.
Yeah, that's going to be our game of the week. We'll be talking about that here in a minute or two. But first off, I mentioned some of those young athletes. They're got that, and not all of them are seniors this year. How important do you think they'll be as far as just building another identity heading into this season? Having Preston Zandier back, Duran Van Bibber also coming back, and then Ian Hansen, who got a ton of yards last year as a sophomore, I believe. So he's entering his junior year. So how important is having those guys kind of step into bigger roles for TJ?
Well, I mean, it's going to be huge. They're going to have to. They got to fill the shoes of Shane Stump, who was Mr. PA football. A TJ quarterback last year. That's going to be big shoes for them to fill, right there. Whoever takes over that quarterback position. But yeah, it's just they're all going to have to step up in their own ways, whether that be as vocal leader or showing out on the field. So obviously they're going to have to step up, and they know that. They have a culture built at Thomas Jefferson that it's win and win now, and a next man up mentality, and it's been that way, and it's going to stay that way, and there's not going to be anything that changes that this year.
Yeah, and you just mentioned their culture. They definitely have built the type of culture to become a perennial WPIAL powerhouse. But, following last year's state title, is this kind of the year where you see them take that next step to become, a constant, state title powerhouse where they're always, either threatening to go to Hershey or they are in Hershey. They're always coming out of Western Pennsylvania as the favorite down the road?
I think they already have that established. Now, obviously, last year was their first state title since 2008, where they won back-to-backs in 2007, 2008. But I mean, they're always like I said, they're always perennials in the WPIL. They 75% of the time they win the WPIL championship, and when you win the WPIL championship, you go to the state playoffs. So when they were at the 3A level. And even last year too, they faced the monster that is Erie Cathedral Prep. That stopped them a lot of times. If Erie Cathedral Prep wasn't the power it was, we might be looking at Bill Cherpak, having 5 or 6 state titles, really. He's had some excellent teams. One team that I look back at, Preston Zandier's older brother, Zane Zandier, who's a linebacker for UVA now. I remember the WPL championship team he was on. I really thought that team was going to be a state championship team, and they lost to, Cathedral Prep in the playoffs. So just unfortunate for that, but they got past them last year, won the state championship. But so I think they're already proven as a state title contender year in and year out.
And then another team that's looking to kind of make their mark that we've talked about already is McKeesport. They're trying to put their name in that conversation as well. And the biggest game for TJ is going to come the last week of the year. It's probably going to be for the conference against the Tigers at home. That's going to be our game of the week. We'll be there filming it on October 23rd. Hopefully there are fans there for that game, again, last week of the year. So there's a good possibility of that happening. What are going to be your thoughts going into that game, just looking at both teams as they are right now?
Well, it's definitely going to be a cat fight, no pun intended. But, I really look forward to it's going to be, what does Thomas Jefferson have, with their weapons? How are they going to utilize them? And versus that triple option in McKeesport. And that's a really intriguing matchup to me. And it's going to be awesome last week of the season where I really think that's when the conference champion will be decided. I look for both teams to be undefeated heading into that game, and that might be not only the biggest game that we cover, but the biggest game in the WPIL that weekend. So really look forward to seeing that matchup.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a great environment to be at, even if there isn't fans there, because, again, these two teams are just so talented. Both of their systems are so well coached. So I think this would be a dream matchup for any big Whitfield fans.